Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to all the witnesses for your testimony today. Admiral Greenert, great to see you. Congratulations on the news that pretty soon it'll be CNO only in front of your name. And wanted to ask you a couple questions. Mr. Forbes talked a little bit earlier about some of the speculation regarding aircraft carriers. One of the other sort of topics that's been out there in terms of the budget pressures. In fact, I think it was General Cartwright gave a speech recently where he talked about the SSBN replacement program and possibly looking at alternatives such as a stretch Virginia, which superficially seems to have some attraction. In fact, this committee looked at that concept last Congress, and I mean, given the fact that it would require a smaller missile, ICBM, that's not built right now, and I think there's lots of other questions that the design of that vessel would generate in terms of complications and certainly potential costs. I was wondering if you had any comment regarding that speculation that, again, is in the press about that as an alternative, a cheaper alternative to the Ohio replacement.
Yes, sir. I know a little bit more about it than what you and I have read in the press. General Cartwright, I have a lot of respect for him and his vision, and so it's probably worthy to look into. But what we know about it, we looked at a Virginia, if you will, module for as one of the alternatives. It was reviewed by the Defense Science Board, and the SSBNX concept that we are preparing for today was the ultimate outcome of that. I think we have to look at the survivability of such a vessel, a Virginia, with that missile compartment. The range of a missile, a smaller missile, might limit options, and those are all part and parcel for the key performance parameters of the overall system that, again, we'd have to look into. And redesigning a missile will obviously add cost rather than just using the D5 missile, and that could change the balance. So all of those items would have to be looked at again because I think they would play into bear on the affordability.
And again, this is really a mission that really is a core strategic goal, which the Nuclear Posture Review and Quadrennial Defense Review, I mean, really it's just been across the board that this is something that we have to build into risk assessment in terms of having a sea-based deterrence. Again, I think the Navy did a terrific job in terms of bringing down the cost per vessel with that process that you just described. I'm sure there's going to be additional efforts to try and see if there's other ways to find savings, but that concept just seems like fraught with delay and cost that again, I think would really just boomerang in terms of what people are trying to achieve. The other question I wanted to ask you was when myself and Mr. Forbes and others were pushing to boost the shipbuilding program for Virginia a few years back, I mean, we were certainly looking at numbers at the time that mission requests from combatant commanders for submarine deployments was roughly about 50% in terms of what was actually being met, and I think those were like 2009 figures. I was wondering, again, just sort of put it in context in terms of where your testimony today, in terms of where we are we going, up, down in terms of that, or is that percentage pretty much the same today?
The percentage is, I would say, a little down. In other words, a number of years ago, the request by COCOMs was 19, and we were able to provide 11 based on force structure as earlier mentioned, 16 versus 10, and these are, as you know, SSN days, SSNs out there deployed. So that's the context of that. Now, as you well know, if you look at our ship inventory when it comes to submarines, 48 is the number that we testified a need to. That's the requirement, and we won't be able to meet that requirement through the years, which is why we are very focused on 2 Virginia-class submarines a year to construction to help meet that COCOM demand.